Hello, good to
Hi,
see you.
Victoria. Oh,
It's
you
so
too.
good to see you.
Aw.
All right, I should have gotten water because I'm like very thirsty, but I think I can still do this. All right, I'm going to ask the Ministry of Angels to surround myself and my client, Aimee, with your beautiful white light. You're like doing this little dance. As I open my heart to divine unconditional love and ask to connect to my highest. You have a lot that you want to ask me about. As to connect to my highest self, guides, and angels, and this of my client, Aimee, to be a clear channel with which to receive and communicate their wisdom. I ask to release any expectations I have towards the outcome of the work that we do together today. And I ask that the outcome of this work serve the highest and greatest good. Amen. So there is, my friend, like a little bit of a heaviness in your heart right now, a real like heaviness in your heart, a heart hurt. Does that sound correct?
I sure do.
Like it's a heartbreak, it's a heart hurt. I feel that there's a loss, there's a disappointment, and there was something or someone that you are clinging on to and trying so hard to make it work. And it feels to me, if I'm reading you correctly, that you've come to the determination that maybe that's not possible. And I think you feel a little bit gutted. Is that accurate or way off?
Perfectly accurate.
Okay. Phew. I don't go that specific all the time. All right. Well, I'm not laughing.
That was shocking. Go ahead.
That was a big read. So I wanna have some compassion. And
Thank you.
one of the things that I feel is complicating this, I don't think you have children, but I do see maybe animals. But I could be wrong. Maybe you do have children, but it feels like, okay, so that's part of it.
Maybe not with this situation.
Well, I feel like there's like younger energy involved in this, but I can't tell if it's animals, plants. But the bigger thing is there's a feeling of you having put a great investment into this relationship and into this person. And so there's some frustration. There's a little bit of anger, though. I don't think anger sits well with you. I think you're one of those people that you drink anger down and it just burns and you feel like you swallowed a bunch of like knife blades, but you don't ever let it out. So that's something to talk about. Because it's important to express our anger, even if we don't express to the person we're angry at. Sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you do, sometimes, but oftentimes you don't, but it does need to be expressed. You shouldn't swallow knife blades or razor blades. Right. It's not good for your throat. But so that's one thing to talk about. But the other thing is it feels like you feel like you put a lot of investment into this person and into the relationship. And that's what makes it so disappointing. But what I want to say to you, similar as we told 2 people ago, my left brain will not remember names after when I'm in this state, but the one in the car, the idea that, you know what I mean? Like we learn from every relationship, and you gained so much from trying to make this one work. I mean, you've grown tremendously through this relationship. Do you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Like
big time.
Ginormously. Like,
yeah.
And there are things and patterns that you work through here that you will never go back to. You don't know this yet, but your guides are like, she's done. She's done. And these have been things that have been part of your life forever. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So they say, as hard as this is, they want you to count this as a win. It's a win. This was a tremendous experience. Be so glad you did it. Yay for you. Yay for you for walking away if that's the choice that you're going to make, which it feels like it is, but it hurts your heart so bad. So you're still like, it's still a little hard for you to let go. That's you have a little codependent heart is the way I see it. Okay. And it's going to be very important for you to find some ways to process your anger. Okay. And the one thing that I see you doing, that I'm going to stop and see how this lands, because this is a lot of me talking, is what would be phenomenal for you to do. My guides always give me like these particular ways to move anger, and they're different for everyone. Okay. Just so you know, it's so fascinating to me. Some people it's ripping paper or stamping, or, in the therapy, I've had so many kids come to me and be like, my therapist told me to punch a pillow or scream in a pillow and it doesn't work. I'm like, because that's not the only way. I feel for you. And this is, do it safely and not at anyone, but throwing knives into a hard thing would be amazing for you. So if that is something that you can do, okay, throwing knives at a board. Why are you laughing? Do you do that?
I'm laughing because me and my son literally just did that last week.
There you
Throwing
go.
knives and stars and axes all at this big piece of wood out here.
Yeah. So keep that doing that.
And it was fun. Yeah. Okay, I will.
And it's a great, I'm so glad that they gave me something that was possible. No, it's huge. The stars are also phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I love the stars because the stars, even though they are kind of weaponized, they also feel kind of superpowery.
Yeah.
And there's that feeling too of I'm not harming anyone. Yeah. With my anger, I'm using it and turning it into my superpower by letting that energy flow.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? And
it does.
Also using this experience, right, as building my own sense of power and my just, letting that energy flow to reconnect with me and my own inner strength. Okay. And again, for those of you listening who are not Aimee, don't throw knives at people, and find your own thing. It's different for everyone. And, sometimes too, this is not for you. This is for everyone else. Cause they might be hearing it. Like you'll know when something is moving anger in a constructive way because you just feel free. You just feel free. It feels good. It feels in flow. If that same action is making you feel more juiced up and more angry and more like that son of a bitch deserves it, that can feel good for like a hot minute. Like I'd say you can do that for about a minute, max 30 seconds. For me, it's about 3 seconds. And then I usually get it off my chest. But that's juicing the anger. So it's just about understanding that anger is an energy and that some of these movements and some of these things can help us to release. And it doesn't mean, of course, that you can't also sometimes give word to what you're feeling, because sometimes we want to do that too. You don't need to do it in so much because so much of your anger is internalized. And most of the words that you give and the stories you give are not what I think it's he did. It's what a lot of times it's you bring it as soon as what he did is in your mind, you come back to what I did. And what's wrong with me? I allowed it. I did this. I was this. I was that. So you can use
my part. That's my part.
Yeah, you can use a little more of the what he did. You could actually really, really, really use a little more. Not to him. That doesn't matter. What he thinks. It's not a matter of who's right or who's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. I want everyone to hear this. Doesn't matter. There's no. It's not. At the end of the day, you can both be right and you can both be wrong because you have different perspectives. And you don't have to change anyone else's mind for you to hear, honor, and, acknowledge your own truth of the situation. And that's what you need to do. And oftentimes when we tune in and we say, that was shitty, that made me feel bad, that was not okay. I didn't like that. Right. I wish I didn't have to do that. I wanted something more. When we can say those things to ourselves, it frees us, it frees them. And then those stories, they lose, it ceases to matter anymore. But we have to bear witness to them first. And you haven't done that as much as you could yet. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
And when you have friends and people that you share with, find the ones that are listeners and huggers, not listeners and juicers.
Yes, absolutely.
So not the ones, he's a jackass. Not the ones who are going to you needed that to a certain point because you needed to see it that way to take action. But at this point, you just need someone to sit with you and say that, honey, that was hard. That was hard. That was hard. And because you're such a kind and loving soul, you put up with a lot, and you put up with a lot because you wanted to see the best in this person. You wanted this person to be able to be what you wanted him to be, because of course you could see how they could do it.
It's true.
We can see how the other person can get there. The problem is if they're not ready to get there yet, you're wasting your breath.
Yeah.
Find someone who's already there, and you can hold someone in the light, right? And understand that, they're bigger than how they're presenting themselves. They're better. Yes. They're bigger than their bad behavior.
Yes.
But that's not an excuse to be in the vicinity of things that don't make you feel good.
Right.
Because you deserve more. Does that make sense?
It does. All of it.
Yay, I'm glad you came on today. I'm glad you came on today.
Me too.
always the right people at the right time. Is there anything else? I think that pretty much hammers it, but
That was, yeah, that you hit the nail on the head with that. I did have one, I think I have one question. I'm really interested to know if you see anything about what I'm launching right now, my rockets. You mentioned
give
rockets, and I
it
was like,
time.
"Oh,
You have
my
a lot of
rockets."
different things in the air
Yeah,
and you're pretty determined.
yeah,
And I think at least one is going to go for you.
mhm.
But right now, like we said to I can't remember her name, AG over there, right now, you've just been like you're in a tremendous growth spurt.
Yeah,
Understanding who you are, how you relate to others, who you want in your world, how you want to be in your world, how you want to show up in the world, and what that's going to look like.
mhm,
Okay.
totally. Yeah,
And so I'm not telling you not to do things, do whatever feels fun and
mhm,
exciting, but just know there's a
mm,
lot of things up in the air. Right. And so
mhm.
some of those knives might hit the mark right away, and others, might like hit the rock on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just, sorry, and just stay with it. Just stay with it.
yep, yep.
That makes
That feels
sense?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yep,
I think some of them are gonna land, but the landscape for you is also going to be changing because 'cause you're in just a tremendous growth spurt, and your
yeah,
guys really wanna honor you. They say you're right on track. Mwah.
checks
Sending you
out.
so much love.
Thank you.